House to Home gives practical tips and recommendations to keep your house up to date. Sponsored by Avista.
And a good afternoon. I'm Clyde Hawsey with House to Home. I'm your host today. And, these trying times seem to be really putting a lot of extra pressure on us. And I wanted to go to one of the leading general contractors here in the Spokane area that maybe you've run across, but I wanted some credible answers. And I asked Justin Reed of Greater American Construction to come in and share with us what he's doing, because I'm going to be very open with you, folks. He's in business. And when that's being said, that means that he's doing practices and procedures you would appreciate and that we all need to be looking at. So, Justin, I've opened the door for you. Carry on. How do we and what are we doing out there as a general contractor?
No, I appreciate you having me on again, Clyde. It's always fun to talk to Spokane. But yeah, in terms of what's going on right now, it's definitely a very interesting time. There's a lot of policies, a lot of things we have to do in order to, not just keep people safe, but also be legal. In these times, it's important to follow at least the guidelines when it comes to keeping people safe and keeping people healthy. But one big thing really is with us, at least, we're not very large. So for us working in residential work, it's not too difficult to practice that social distancing and following those guidelines in terms of keeping people healthy. So that's really the big thing with us, is if we can do our part to keep people healthy and to continue to do work that enhances the community and give people the tools to invest in their homes, that's really all we can do. And so we keep our guys safe. When this all began, when we were given the green light a couple weeks ago to start working, we had to meet with them and break down what we need them to do. We gave them sanitizing wipes, hand sanitizer, pretty much all of the tools they need to stay healthy. And then in terms of just making sure the homeowners are comfortable and happy with the work that we're doing, on top of doing good work, which is always the obvious thing to do.
Well, and I've been in the construction business off and on over the last 40 years, and I have never seen it like this before. And I know in your lifetime, you've never seen it before like this. And I hope we never have to go back to it. But practices that we're talking about are really kind of just good old common sense. I assume wearing a mask when you need to inside, hand sanitizers, as you said, booties when it's needed. I don't know exactly everything that you do, but the other thing is that you've got good quality, either subcontractors or employees, and I think that's very important.
Yeah, we have officially, we only have, we're under 10 when it comes to our employees. We have obviously the two owners, my parents, and then me, and then our employees. And what's nice with that is we don't have to worry about the subcontractors. But you're right, it is tough when you are dealing with a bunch of people and you are dealing specifically with subs, because you don't have the same level of control over what they do as you do your own employees and obviously yourself. So that's one big thing with us, is we like to keep it close to the vest in terms of that helps our quality, but also right now it allows us to corral exactly what we're doing and make sure that our guys are keeping a safe distance, not just from the homeowners, but maybe take two vehicles now instead of one. And so there's a few things we're doing to do that. But yeah, like you said, it's very different. We're usually really clean. Our guys who work in home, when it comes to windows, for instance, they do lay out tarps and they do keep things clean in general. But then also when it comes to like you mentioned, also wearing masks when they're doing stuff. So they already had access to masks before all of this because of just the nature of construction. You don't want to be breathing in some of these, when you're cutting stuff, for instance. So there's definitely things that we were prepared for just naturally being in construction, but there definitely were a few things that had to be adjusted, at least for the time being, to follow those guidelines and to do things the right way.
Well, we're going to be taking a quick break here, Justin, but I wanted to touch on a lot of these things because here on House to Home, we try to educate people. And when we take after the break here, I want to come back and I want you to maybe share with us a few questions that you've been receiving on the phone calls of what are you doing to provide that and what are the reassurances that are you going to be given. So, folks, we're going to take a quick break here and we'll come back to you, Justin, and we'll be asking some questions on what are the questions that the homeowner should be asking. So, come back and join us in a few seconds.
Here at River Ridge Hardware, we want to help you celebrate your mothers and your grandmothers with all kinds of gifts. Have you ever been to your grandmother's house and she has a project for you to do and you can't find the shovel or the rake's broken? We have rakes, shovels, hose at $5.97. We have bird feeders. We have hanging baskets. We have everything that your mother or grandmother would ever want here at River Ridge Hardware.
Hi, I'm Dave Lucas, running to be your state senator. I'm a husband, father, and Marine veteran with almost 22 years of experience. I know during this current medical emergency and time of uncertainty, people are concerned. I hope you and your family are doing well. I have the experience, leadership, and training to move us past this crisis. To learn more about me and my campaign for state senator, please follow me on my Twitter, Facebook, or my website at votedavelucas.net. Thank you and stay well.
Welcome back, folks, to House to Home. Again, I'm Clyde Hawsey, and our guest today is Justin Reed with Greater American Construction. Justin, we were talking about in the beginning of some of your practices that you do, but I think one of the big things that I really want to help the people here on House to Home is to what are some questions that people should be asking? Make note of this so that if they have a contractor they'd like to maybe use, ask some questions. What are some of them that you've been experiencing that you could share with us?
Well, one thing that is always big, but specifically right now, I kind of already hinted on this earlier, but make sure one big thing for especially residential work is check to see if they are their employees. There's nothing that wrong with subcontractors. Sometimes they are necessary, but in a perfect world, if a company can provide their own employees to do the work, not just the quality, but also in this time, the safety of them also is important. So that's one thing that we get a lot is people wonder if we sub out our work or if we have our own employees. And that's one thing we're really happy to provide is our own employees and, an average of 15 plus years of experience. And that's a big deal to a lot of homeowners. And so that's one big one for sure. I know the other one that we get a lot is just what are we doing to provide our guys and provide a safe working environment in especially during this time. And so usually, we share with how most of the time our employees are not even interacting with the homeowners all that much anyway. So, because they're outside of the house 98% of the time. Sometimes they'll go inside to finish off windows install, but most of the time they are outside. But we do let them know that we have instructed them, we have given them the tools and the safety, meetings when it comes to staying clean, washing your hands, using hand sanitizer, keeping distance. So right now, I think people are mainly just wondering what we are doing and if we are even open. I think one thing that has been a little confusing to a lot of people is what we can do and in general, what companies can and can't do. And so for construction right now, we're free to do anything. Technically, I think we're supposed to only do the jobs that we have signed before the stay-at-home order went into place, which is fine for us because we've been really busy before that, and so we're still catching up on all of the jobs we had already signed before all of this went down. So that's another thing is are we allowed to do work? And we are, and we just have to take the correct safety precautions.
Well, Justin, you've touched on a few things. I've always said in that when you have employees, and of course, if they're your own employees, especially, whenever you go to a job site, you have become their guest. and don't ever be afraid to ask the employee or your contractor what is happening. Enjoy, the pleasure of the experience. It doesn't have to be a bad experience. Construction doesn't have to be, it can be good. So that's very important. And of course, being licensed and bonded. And of course, I know there's a lot of that going on. I don't want to lose this one here. Justin, if someone who's listening here wants to get hold of you, what are ways we can do it? Through the phone number and also your website? What are they?
Yeah, so we're active on Facebook as well. So if you just look up Greater American Construction on Facebook, on the internet, you'll find our website and all of our information. And being a family-owned business, our phones are always on, which is another big benefit. Is if you can find a locally owned business who the ownership is the family, our requirement is to always be available to make sure we can solve any of your problems. But our phone number is 325-2572. And yeah, we've been around for a long time. We've seen it all. We've been through the 2008 recession, the turn of the century. We're going through this right now. So it's definitely a trying time, an interesting time for the industry. But we feel like we're very well equipped to handle that. In terms of the safety, but also the longevity of being able to survive a mini crisis. Luckily, we are able to work, and people still are spending money. A little bit different than 2008, but
Right.
It is a very different time, like you mentioned earlier. That's for sure.
Well, I think that I really want to pass this along. I've been looking around. I've talked to other people, and they've been trying to get people to come out. And folks, don't be afraid to ask an answer or a question directly. Are you licensed? Are you bonded? Are you taking practices? Or can you actually be out on our job here? How are you treating your people? All these things, because that's most. It doesn't mean it costs anybody more money. It's just practices that we're all used to. And I think that's the most important thing. I know you just gave us some again, but give it to us now because we're getting down to the end, and I want you to share. Is there any other thoughts you have beyond that?
I think a big thing right now is customer service. When, probably the last month and a half, some of the biggest questions and comments we've received from our customers is, we went with you guys because you either called us back, or you actually got our estimate in a timely manner, or you seemed interested in doing your work. And so if you're out there getting estimates and calling companies, if they're not treating you like you're a customer already, then they're not doing it right. So that's one big thing with us is, no matter what your job is, even if we don't want to do it, we're going to treat you like you're our customer already, even if it's something that, we really don't have either the time to do, or something that, we want to help people. And if it's something we can't do, we will pass that along to somebody else that we trust, who will do solid work. And so one big thing is just watch for the companies who treat you like you're a customer already, because those are the people who actually care about your project and who are going to provide you with good work, but also safe work right now. And so just keep an eye out for the companies that actually care about you, not just the money that you'll be giving them.
Well, Justin, I think you've really filled the whole bucket with that. You've given us the right information, and folks, don't be afraid to ask. And Great American Construction, the Greater American Construction, they're great people. They've been around for a long time. They're locally, they're based here. They will return your calls. And that's one of the things that I try to do on House to Home, is to give and to introduce you to general contractors or people that you can actually count on. So for right now, Justin, good luck. Enjoy the rest of the year. For the listeners, you've got a whole complete list of questions to ask your general contractor, and don't be afraid to give Justin a call. So with that, folks, we're going to take a break here. See you next time on House to Home.
Thanks for watching. Ask the host a question, recommend a guest, or check out any of our other programs on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com. Sponsored by Avista.